Alright, what is going on, guys? Back with another video. And today we got a bit of a problem. Yeah, we have a bit of a problem. So we have an issue with the Camaro. Not sure what the issue is, but the check engine light's on. And it's not running any differently. It feels the exact same. The check engine light came on maybe, I would say, about a month ago. And it goes off. Comes back on, and like maybe a week or two ago, I went into the engine bay, took everything apart, put everything back together because maybe I thought I like didn't tighten a clamp down or something like that. Put it all back together, no check engine light. Then a few days ago, it popped back up, and I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on? So I'm not sure what the issue is. I'm going to back my car up into the by the garage, and I'm gonna check it out a little bit. Now that I got the car pulled back in, let's take a look and see what it's doing. So on here we have the check engine light, obviously. And that's how I knew something was wrong with the car. It popped up when I was just cruising. If my camera wants to focus. Alright. Alright, yeah, it popped up when I was just cruising. Wasn't like beating on the car or nothing like that. Just taking a light little drive. I think I was coming back home from work or whatever. And it popped on. And I'm like, this is strange. Why the heck did this light pop on? Like, what's going on with the car? Like, I don't feel nothing different. It doesn't sound any differently. Like, what's going on? But I did notice that when I went on my lunch break at work before the check engine light popped on, the car would, like, I would start it up and, you know, it will idle higher than it normally does, and then it'll go back down. And I'm just like, why is my car doing that? And so I did it, I think twice. No, I did it once when I was on my lunch break just to have the car cool because it was a hot day. Then when I got off work, it did it again. I'm like, nah, it's probably nothing. Just pass it off. And then a check engine light popped up. So I had the little scanner for my car, like the little OBD2 scanner, and it shows me like what's going on with the car and everything like that. Shows me like where it happened, when it happened, the conditions the car was under, and stuff like that. So yeah, let me pull up my phone really quick. So the check engine light I'm getting is, if my phone or camera wants to focus, P2179, and it just says the engine is too little, or is getting too little fuel off idle. And I'm like, whoa, that's weird. Like, why is it, you know, out of nowhere just saying that? And I thought, you know, maybe it's the cold air intake, but I had the cold air intake on for about 2 months before the check engine light popped on, and I'm like, it would have popped on more like sooner and not have those issues out of nowhere. Like, the check engine light would have popped on like maybe a week or so after putting that on, and it wouldn't have these random issues pop up. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's not a cold air intake. So these are the conditions that happened. The engine was at 1100 RPMs. If it wants to focus, or the car was at 1100 RPMs, doing 39 miles an hour, 43.5 degrees advanced timing. The intake air temperature was 74. Let's see, the math was 10.9 GS. I don't know what that means. I'm like, pretend like I know what that means. And then the throttle position was at 28%. So yeah. But yeah, the common theme I noticed with this car, like the check engine light coming on and going off, is one, when it's about 50 or so degrees or lower, the check engine light pop back on. When I fill the car all the way up with fuel and it's a warmer day, goes right off. So I'm not sure what's going on in between, you know, like what's going on truly, because I thought it was like maybe a vacuum leak or something like that, but I'm not sure. And I don't think it's the cold air intake, because if it was cold air intake, it wouldn't have taken 2 months for the check engine light to pop on. Like if it was like a day or two, or like a week, or even a month after, I was like, okay, maybe it's the check engine light, or maybe it's the cold air intake. But after 2 months, almost 3 months of it being on the car, literally it cannot be that. So I mean, I'm not ruling it out, of course, but that's one of the things I went back through and checked to make sure there was no leaks, tighten down everything. and that's when it went off. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just, you know, forgot to tighten everything back down when I did the intake wrap. So I was cool. It was off for like about 2 weeks or so, and then out of nowhere, when it was like 45 degrees outside, popped back on, and that was the last log I just showed you guys. So I'm kind of at a loss on what's wrong with this car. And again, it's the P2179. So if you guys know any issues like that arise from this car, like I've looked it up, and everybody says like cold air intake issues and stuff like that. But I'm like, if it's the cold air intake, it would have popped on sooner. And so I'm not too sure. I want to bring it to the shop, but I also don't want the shop to be like, oop. I want to bring it to the shop, but I also don't want the shop to be like, yeah, it's just because you have this cold air intake on. And I'm like, and I, you know, it'd be like, well, it wasn't on for 2 months, so I'm not going to rule it out, but it wasn't on for 2 months, so I don't think that could be the issue. Literally, I don't feel any difference with the car. Like it doesn't feel sluggish. It doesn't feel like it's using a lot of gas or, you know, running rich or whatever. I mean, it's running lean, but to compensate, it's not running, you know, it's not dumping extra fuel in just to compensate for it. So I haven't noticed that. It pops, it crackles like normally does. Fuel efficiency still the same. So I'm like, whatever this issue is, it's very minor, because I don't feel a difference in the car's performance at all. If anything, it feels fantastic. And like, if anything, it feels fantastic. So I think I'm gonna try to get a tune to see if that fixes it. And if it, you know, if that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to just chalk it up to bringing it to the shop and see if they, you know, if they can diagnose what the issue is. Let me bring you guys into the engine bay really quick. Alrighty, so yeah, I haven't made any changes to the engine bay since putting on the intake wrap. Watch the carts on the back. I'm trying to see, maybe it's just a dirty sensor. The car's still running without it. The car's still running without a map sensor. The car is still running without a freaking map sensor. Are you serious? What the heck? Okay, maybe that's the issue, because the car should have turned off. It literally, honestly, should have just immediately turned off. But yeah, I don't hear any like vacuum leaks or anything under the engine bay, or from under the engine cover over here. It sounds the same. That tick is just the fuel injectors going to support the port injector. But other than that, I don't see anything out of the normal for why this car would be having to check. I totally left that under this goddamn engine bay from the very last time I was working on this car. Okay, let me. But yeah, it's like I did a lot of research, and everything that I've looked up, I checked, and everything checks out perfectly fine. So I'm honestly not sure what's wrong with this car. And like, I don't feel any air getting past like any of the couplers. I mean, the only coupler that really matters is this one right here, because the map sensor is right here. So that coupler really doesn't matter, because if air was getting in through that coupler right here, it would still get measured by the map sensor. So the only thing that really matters is this coupler right here, and then this little joint right here. And I peeled back the tape right here just in case it was that, but it's not that. So yeah, I'm not sure what it is and why it keeps happening. All I know is like today, it may go off since it's a warmer day. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's just like that the cold air intake is bringing in much colder air and much more dense air when it's cold outside, to where the car can't compensate for it. I'm not too sure. That could be an issue. So it could be resolved with a tune. I'm not sure. We'll find. I guess I'll find out when I get a tune for it. But other than that, I'm not going to be driving this car too much or too hard until I get that done. Probably going to try to get that order next week, maybe, hopefully. Kind of waiting for some Black Friday deals, because those things are amazing. Honestly, guys, if you guys want to buy stuff for your car, wait till Black Friday or Cyber Monday, and you guys will find the best deals ever. But yeah, that's just like a little update on the Camaro. This thing is like, it's running perfectly fine. Like, there's no other issues like that will show me why the car is like saying that it's running lean. But yeah, on the app, I looked at the AFRs, I looked at the fuel command, looked at the fuel trim levels. Everything looks normal. So I'm really confused on why this car keeps popping up with a check engine light. Literally, when it pops up, everything is normal. It's at like a what is it called? It's at like 14.1 when it starts up. When it's sitting at idle, it's like a 14.1, and then when I'm driving, it's a little bit richer than that. So if it was lean, it would be going the opposite direction, around like 17, 20-ish area, but it's not doing that. It's literally staying in the window between 11 and 13. So I know that this car is like running fine, and it's not going to blow itself up, obviously. If it was going to blow itself up, I would not have this car started. But looking at the AFRs and everything like that, it's completely fine. So I'm kind of confused on why this check engine light keeps popping up. When it pops up, I check the gauges and everything like that. Still running perfectly fine. AFRs in between the window of 11 and 13, roughly. Now, if that may be a little bit too lean for it at those conditions for how cold it is, it wouldn't make sense because it's still reading off the air-fuel ratio. So, yeah, I'm kind of confused. Like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna go off at any minute since it's around 70 degrees today, and I haven't been driving it lately. But yeah, if you guys know any issues that could be going on with this, like a vacuum leak or something like that I couldn't think of, like I haven't really unplugged anything under the hood besides the stuff that had to do with the what's it called, the cold air intake. So I don't think I like unplugged something by accident and forgot to plug it in, or didn't tighten it down too much, or anything like that. So I'm not sure what this could be. I'm not sure what it could be. Again, I'm explaining that the AFRs are reading correct, the fuel trim levels are reading correctly. What else? The fuel command is reading correctly, staying about 1% or so. Not 1%, but like on a ratio of 1. I think the lowest it's ever dipped was like 0.98, and that was it. But other than that, I do not know what's wrong with this car. The only thing I can think of is just that the cold air intake on colder days is bringing in much colder and much dense air, and more air than the stock airbox could on days like that. So the tune is not properly set up for days like that. So I think that's what could be the issue. I'm not sure. This is like my first time having a cold air intake, so I think I'm just going to try to get a tune for it and go from there. And if it doesn't fix it, then I'm just going to chalk it up, bring it to the shop, pay the money, and be like, hey, yeah, don't know what's wrong with my car. Could be the cold air intake. If it is, then I don't know what to do from there. So y'all take care of it. But yeah, I have some long tube headers on the way and a tune. I'm just waiting to get those when they go on Black Friday sale, because, you know, why not? I'm probably going to get a few other things. I'm not going to say it. I'm only going to say the long tube headers and the tune because I've been hinting at those for a little bit now. So yeah, I'm just gonna get that going, get this car sounding a lot better and a lot louder and a lot deeper and a lot faster. And then once that's done, once I get the tune, have this car running perfectly fine, even though it's running perfectly fine now, I just don't want to chance it with the check engine light on. Then I'm gonna take it to the track. I'm gonna take it down to Yellow Belly. Don't even know where it is. Somewhere in Grand Prairie, I think. Take it to Yellow Belly, get some runs in with the car, you know, learn something new, because I've never been drag racing before. I've only just had fun just driving the car on the street, and that's it. But yeah, take it to Yellow Belly, have some fun out there. Oh yeah, another thing, I took out the spark plugs, took out every last spark plug. They all show signs of just normal wear, or even more on the rich side actually. They don't look like a lean spark plug would, like the little light faded burnt color. They look more like of a dark, or just a more normal spark plug would look if the AFRs were reading correctly. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then nothing's really wrong with this car, because the spark plugs would be one of the first things that show signs of, you know, a lean vehicle. So yeah, I'm gonna keep knocking out this car, trying to see what's wrong with it. I'm gonna keep adding stuff onto it, just get a tune, see if that helps, because, you know, it is a fueling issue. So if it's a fueling issue, maybe a tune can help. Do some data logs and stuff like that. I think I'm gonna go with a trifecta tune. Either trifecta or overkill. I think trifecta has a better outcome, because I know trifecta, once you go with them, you can do like free retunes or whatever like that, free data logging to make sure your car is up to par. So yeah, I'm going to do more research on which one's better, obviously, because, you know, I want the, you know, the best bang for buck, and, you know, the most I can get out of this car before I, you know, cam it. But yeah. Oh yeah, and another thing it's doing, let me show you. So that was me literally tapping the gas for a second, and it's just holding the revs a little bit, and it never did that before. Let me do it one more time. Let me show you guys I'm not playing with literally my foot. So yeah, I think it's an excess of air getting in from somewhere. If it's doing that, since my foot is not on the throttle and it's doing that, I'm thinking it's excess of air getting in from somewhere, but I just can't pinpoint where it's coming from. So yeah, I'm gonna take a once over of this car really quick, make sure that I plugged in everything. Yes, I don't know why. Like even when I'm like coming to a stop and I'll like let off the throttle, pushing the clutch, put the car in neutral, it'll like hold the revs at wherever it was sitting at, and I'm just like, why is it doing that? So yeah, that's another symptom it's doing. That's like the only like thing that is doing that's not normal for this car. Other than that, everything else is working perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on. So yeah, if you guys do know, please hit me up. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Just want to give you guys a little quick update on the Camaro. It's running fine, it's running great. The error code is P2179. So if you guys had this issue, or if you guys have known somebody who fixed this issue or blah, whatever, whatnot, and you know who can point me in the right direction, please let me know, because I pretty much tore this car apart and I cannot figure out what's wrong with it. So yeah, I'm leaving it up to you guys. If you guys can help me out, please let me know.